To be an oyster farmer, I think first you have to have a love of the outdoors. A like is okay, but like if you don't love being out here, I mean, I drive out here and I've got a smile on my face just because I'm soaking in a 360-degree view. Like, this is my office view. This is what we see every day. So I think first and foremost, you have to love being outdoors, because with being outdoors, it's not as romantic as just like, you know, sitting in the shade. You know, you're out here, the sun can be, on a beautiful day, everybody's like, oh, it's nice, let's go to the beach. But if you've been working in the sun for 8 hours or 10 hours, it's, you know, that's tough. So I've been doing this for about 14 years, oyster farming, and I think my friends even still forget and call me a clam farmer. People just don't understand oyster farming. Every time I go out, if I go to a party and people are like, what do you do? I'm an oyster farmer. That always spawns, wait, what are you talking about? You're an oyster farmer. Just, I feel like very few people understand that we are growing oysters. We are farmers. I mean, we have straight rows like that look like crops right below us. And we are subject to Mother Nature just like the farmers, and we plant seed and we harvest our product. I mean, aquaculture is farming in the ocean. I got into oyster farming probably long before I started oyster farming. When I was 5, growing up in the Bay Area near San Francisco, my family would take me up to the tide pools in Mendocino, and I just loved the ocean. And as soon as I learned the word marine biologist, or the words marine biologist, that's what I knew I wanted to do. And so right out of college, I got hired by Morro Bay Oyster Company, and they hired me to manage this farm as a production farm for them. My boss retired, sold his main company up north to another gentleman, and sold me this production farm when I was 25 years old. I was very naive. I thought that people were just going to come here and buy oysters just like they were doing up north, and this was going to be easy. And it was not. And I was hustling oysters on the docks, off the side of the highway, like right next to the guy selling strawberries, farmers markets and swap meets. And it wasn't until we started meeting chefs at these markets, and every week they would come back and buy as much as I sold at the market. And I started, this doesn't make sense. I spent all these hours and miles traveling around, and started meeting and developing these relationships with chefs. And I realized that this is where the future of this company could really go. I've got a guy out here, Ben, who's been out with me for a while. He was a chef, and it's really cool to have somebody who came from the other side, somebody that I used to deliver to. I sold to him for years at a really fine restaurant, and he cared so much about his product. You know, when he decided to make a move, he said, you know, I'm really interested in what you're doing out there. Came out here for a day and just looked around and said, yeah, I'm in. Harvesting a product fresh and delivering it to chefs quicker than anybody else could, and using kind of old school business where a handshake was all you needed, and you look each other in the eyes and say, we want to do business together, and trust each other in the product. And that's how we developed Morro Bay Oyster Company, and that's still what we do to this day. Is we harvest and ship oysters direct to chefs now all over the United States.
They're like plants, you know. They're like we just come out here. They're like little bonsai trees almost. Like you just like manicure them. Well, you gotta have a desire to like actually want to be out here for the starters, and then like you can't have like a fear of reaching into the unknown, literally physically reaching into the unknown and coming out holding something. I'm from upstate New York, and like you go back there and it's beautiful at a certain time of the year, but it also like reeks like sulfur. Like, I don't remember that, you know, but like, okay. And then like I miss the trees. I miss like you know, the forests and like thunderstorms and fireflies. But you know, you don't get this. Like you don't get like you end up inside for a lot of times. So somehow I ended up in a kitchen inside in a uniform, which was what I said I would never do. But this is like that opportunity for me to like kind of come back outside.
This is what we want every one of our oysters to look like right here, minus the mud. This shape is just incredible. Is that a perfect oyster? Yeah, it's a perfect oyster. It's a nice, beautiful deep cup. It's a nice cocktail shape, the size is about what 90% of our business is right here.
There's different genetics. Some grow fast, some grow green like that, some grow purple. It can get pretty hot, pretty cold, pretty rainy out here, so it's easy to want to be inside, so you got to just have a lot of passion and enjoy making the oysters. I love making nice oysters. Yeah, my favorite part of the job, I don't have to wear a suit and tie. Sometimes it's cold, but you know, I definitely find comfort knowing that I don't have to wear a suit and tie. My uniform's a wetsuit or what I have on now. It's awesome. We get really good relationship with all the guys out here, sometimes girls. But yeah, we're all really close. If we're harvesting, first thing we do is walk through the farm, figure out which line we want to queue up to sort. We'll have 2 people working on the ramp, cranking up 1 bundle at a time. Ben and I, for the most part, will be sorting through the oysters, picking out the cocktails, extra smalls and smalls. We're in pretty good communication with Kyle as well as Neil, just ironing in the numbers that we'll need. We have a facility that we keep the oysters in, so we try and stay a couple weeks ahead.
Yeah.
30 feet later.
Yeah, it's so deep. I got him. Didn't give up till I got those glasses, man. Did you get to the bottom?
Your glasses are way out there.
Get in here, Tom, where you freeze.
Did you get to the bottom?
Yeah.
They could be down there.
I can feel the tide pulling me.
Bummer. I got 2 pair.
I definitely thought you fell in.
It's a unique job, which we take pride in too, because we do all this work, and when a customer gets an oyster on the plate, they just think that this is an animal that came straight from the ocean, and they don't understand typically the backstory of how much work went into it. They know they're expensive. They don't necessarily know why. You know, the oyster's grown in an extremely harsh environment, and they have high mortality. Oh, and I'll wait.
Hold on a second.
They're gonna get into they're gonna get into this. Hey. The first year this farm got started, we planted 3 million oysters, and a red tide came through that they hadn't seen in like a decade, and it sucked all the oxygen out of the water and killed 90% of them. So that was a really tough start, and I learned to be persistent. My previous boss, Drew Alden, was an amazing optimist and just kind of pushed through, and I think you really have to have that mentality out here to keep going, because you constantly get dealt blows out here that would make you want to stop. And so when you have an oyster farm that is clipping along good, and then it has a really bad year, that's going to also affect the price too of oysters. You know, we're a small company, and so we have a really tight-knit team, and the goal is to have a company that the employees can not just like get a paycheck, but can afford a life and a lifestyle, and their families can too. And I think, you know, owning a home in California is hard, but I'd like for my whole team to be able to own a home and put their kids through college should they choose. Or, you know, that's kind of a thing to say, but it's really just meaning to make enough money to not just be paycheck to paycheck. We've put a lot of resources into our facility, and we will continue to do so. And as it finishes up here soon, people will be able to come buy oysters direct from us, you know, Monday through Sunday, and enjoy oysters right here and get a taste what we do every day.
The ocean is a great resource for fun, for food, for recreating. I mean, anything. Everything ends up in the ocean. So the estuary is, you know, where everything goes to before it gets into the ocean. So cleaning up bays, cleaning up estuaries is all very, very closely related to oysters. One oyster can filter 50 gallons of water a day. Just saving the bay, improving water quality, spreading the word that everything ends up in the water, you know, just we need to do our part cleaning the ocean. Yeah.